Hallelujah, shalom, shalom, peace and blessings, all everybody out there that will see this and is seeing it as we speak. This is Chief Zebulon Ben Lewy Adekio. This is the Masada Watchmen. We got the brothers Prince Shaul and Mordeh Shema Tamiyahu.
Shalom, shalom.
Yeah, let's hear it, man. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
We're gonna, we got another another interesting show.
Most definitely.
But with that said, of course, I'm gonna pass the balls to Mordeh Shema Tamiyahu. Let's bring it.
Most definitely. Just want to make sure for our other panelists that we keep send some prayers up to him. Make sure that everything is cool with him on his end. He will be rejoining us on our next discussion, which is Yeshayahu. So today's topic is, or I would say the current events topic of this week is entanglements, single mother follies, and more.
Entanglements. So that's the new word on Black.
That's the new word, man. That's the new word. We set up here and we had a topic we was going to speak on, but this just became highly popular very quickly. And for those that's not familiar, which you have to be living under a rock if you don't know, but we have Mrs. Jada Pinkette-Smith, the wife of Will Smith, of course, had some entanglements with August and ALSINA, and we just wanted to speak on it.
Can we get a definition, if you will, of entanglement? Because the term is very legalese in its orientation. Yeah. It's a very crafty term, that can throw a lot of people off. But let's demystify that term. What does entanglement mean, Aki?
Well, the way that she put it, she made it seem like it was just a little minor situation, a little and Will cut off, by the way, during the video. If you haven't seen the video, he was like, I need you to expound on that. Say what it is. It's just a relationship. Yeah. She had a relationship with August ALSINA. Now, mind you, if I'm not mistaken, y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, but she was denying it at first.
Yeah, that's my recollection is.
No lie, man. Yeah, she was like beating around the bush for a long time, bro. Yeah, definitely.
So, what does this have to do with the show? Why are we bringing this out for this platform? Are we just falling into the trap of just bringing up the hottest topics and just, gossiping about it? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. One of the main reasons we brought this up, well, I can only speak for myself. I'm going to allow Prince Shaul and Chief Zeb to let us know, why they wanted to speak on it. But for me, it was the comments, a lot of comments being made, a lot of talk, a lot of supporting. I was very surprised. Well, no, I wasn't surprised. But part of me, the part that's not, I don't even know where to go with this. I was just surprised of so many people supporting it. They were saying, let their business be their business, things of that nature. They were saying things like, well, they weren't together. They were saying things like that. Yeah, go ahead, Chief. Go ahead, Chief.
No, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not even gonna cut you off right now. I hear that. I just be like,
yeah. So we do understand. Like I say this a lot too, especially off the air, that a lot of matters that we talk about is be looked at as their perspective. I saw someone has said along the lines of, well, it's not cheating. They're not married, but technically they are married. Whether it's a separation or not, they're married, and they was using this to justify her entanglements. And with that, I'm gonna hold off and allow you all to speak. But trust me, I got some more to say. I just want to, see y'all thoughts, and let's go from there.
First of all, let's stop with this. I mean, I was joking about the term entanglement, but let's just stop with that. It is not an entanglement. You know what an entanglement is? An entanglement is when you do something, you get caught in a situation one time, and you're like, oh man, this was wrong. And then the person tried to blackmail you over it. Like, hey, yeah, you don't do this, I'm gonna tell this or that. So you're gonna go get, and now it's an entanglement because you don't want to be there. You don't want to be in that situation. You made a mistake, but now you're trapped. That's an entanglement. Mm-hmm. This is a full-fledged relationship.
Yeah.
She had a relationship with this kid, and let's keep it real. If you listen to the narrative, because that was one of the first things I was listening to what she was saying, but at the same time, I'm paying attention to Will's face. I'm paying attention to how he's looking at her. Yeah. And he looks dead behind the eyes, like he's just like, yeah, like Kevin Hart, yeah, oh yeah, okay, right. Like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But if you listen to what she's saying, think about how she laid out the narrative. She said, August Alsina, she was like, August was going through a lot of things. He was, going through a lot of, mental issues, a lot of things going on in his life. He was in a very bad place. She comes in and says, okay, I'm going to help him with this. Mm-hmm. Whatever it was, that's not, that situation is not clarified. We don't know what the situation was, but she goes in to help him with the situation. Now, this is a grown woman. This is a woman that's about 50 years old, I think, if not older.
Right.
I'm not sure, but I know she's pushing 50.
She close to 50. I think she like 47, 46, 47.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And August Alsina is a young dude. What,
25, something like that, 25, 26.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, 27.
So now she's in a situation where she's like, oh, he's going through some mental issues. He's all jacked up. Let me come in and help him. Now, how does the help, whatever the help that she offered him, how did it go from help to a relationship? Mm-hmm. Now, we know that if this was in reverse and this was a young girl, a 25-year-old girl who was going through a lot of issues or whatever she was going through, and a 40-something-year-old man comes in and says, I want to help you, counsel you, or whatever it is to get you back on your feet, to get you thinking right. And next thing you know, he's hitting that.
Yeah.
They be calling him R. Kelly.
Yes, sir.
So we can say that her going into the situation, she knows he's vulnerable. She knows that he's not in his right mind. He even said that he was all over the damn place.
She admitted it in the interview. She
Absolutely.
said this on the interview. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
They both did. Her and Will Smith did.
So again, this is I think Shaul mentioned this prior, like in the group chat of talking about the double, or maybe it was just, I think you left a audio clip where we talked about the double standards. This is a clear example of a double standard, because what she basically did with him, this is what they would call being a predator.
Yes.
You preyed on this young dude who was not in his right mind, and somehow or another, your help evolved or devolved into a sexual relationship. You're having an affair with this young dude. Mm-hmm. Now, you can say whatever you want to say about it being, oh, well, we were not together, we were separated. First of all, God damn it, there is no such thing as a separation.
Right.
Either you are with this person or you are divorced. If the relationship was that bad, you should have filed for divorce. Like, listen, this is over or whatever. And even if you want to do a separation, the separation is for the purpose of what? And she even said it, to figure out how to get back to her happy place, to get her happiness, Will to get his happiness, to figure out how to work out whatever it is that we're working out. Why do people think that when you separate, that's code word for, okay, I'm gonna go suck and screw these dudes, or I'm gonna go get these bunch of chicks and I'm gonna start going buck wild? That's what you're doing during the separation? That's not a separation, it's adultery.
Right. Right.
And she sat there and tried to legitimize adultery, and I'm looking at Will's face, and you can tell that in his mind, he probably wanted to throw it through a window.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was hot. He was hot. I could tell. When I looked at him, I was like, yeah, this dude. Like you were saying, man, he looked dead inside, and he was upset that whole conversation. And then her trying to beat around the bush and play around with words was making him even more upset.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now I'm stupid.
All that dancing.
I'm stupid. Right. But like, oh, I'm stupid. I get it. You're just gonna throw some words at me, and entanglement. That clarifies everything. Like what?
Now, mind you, Prince, Shaul, you still talking? If you was, I'm
know. Go ahead, Aki.
Now, mind you, for those that's listening, you know, when we upload this, for those that's listening, now we understand that people will say, hey, they were in a open relationship and things of that nature. I don't know the time frame. I do know I caught with him when he said, Will Smith had said, I was done. I don't know what moment it was or what specific subject he was speaking on. Part of me want to say that because this is why I say it might have been August ALSINA, and I'm assuming. I'm not right or wrong. I'm assuming. Because think about how it started, like you just said, Chief. A lot of people don't know we're speaking on this from a standpoint of how she manipulated or used his weakness and the sickness that he had that they both were saying, and she pounced on it. You know, so we're looking at it differently. Like a lot of people say, well, you know, he a young boy, he was getting it in with her, or you know, they was having an open relationship, this and that. No, pay attention to what everyone is saying about August, even August as well. They said he needed help. They was there to help direct him. He went through a lot of trauma, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then it went from that into this relationship. And what Will has said, what I caught, he said he was done. And I'm talking about getting her back. It was key words he was saying in there. I think that this was the thing. Yeah, they had an open relationship, according to what, you know, social media and everybody be saying. I don't know their true, you know, relationship status or how they operate, but it's known that they have that, you know. So the circumstances with this was a little different, you know. And then they will say, well, you know, I saw some posts about, it was like as soon as this happened and this is what I'm saying with the justification, they was trying to compare this to, I guess, other scenarios when the man didn't say nothing about other people. That's not it. That's not what I'm speaking on. I'm speaking on the comments that's being said, the justification of what took place, the rooting her on, and all of this. Shoot, both of them foul, in my opinion, if it comes to open relationship type stuff, you know. But if they had this specific agreement, which I don't agree with, and she went outside of it, and then not even that, but went and did this towards August when they both knew the trauma and the pain and the hurt and the sickness they were saying that he had. Oh, she took advantage of him there. And then she realized, she said, because he broke up with her, according to her. That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was falling in love, all that stuff. And then he saw how she jumped right back to Will. So it's deeper than what people are saying. So this is why, you know, and I'm gonna yield the floor and pass it to show. And I got some more to say, but I'm gonna stop right there.
We got a whole lot more to say.
Yeah. Right.
So everybody out there, get comfortable. Get a stick.
But I'm gonna tell you that this the part that really bothered me. Like there, I mean, the whole thing is foul in general. But the part that really bothered me, one of the things that really bothered me is when she made the claim that it had been so long since she felt good.
Oh my goodness.
Sir.
Yes. Did you see his face when she said that part?
Yeah, bro. I'm like, that's an insult to him. Like
he wanted to put her through a window right there.
Right.
I saw it. I was like, oh my.
I'm like, how you say this on national TV, man, in front of everybody?
That
Like
ain't
your
even
husband
funny.
sitting right there in front of you, talking about it been so long since you felt it. Like, what does that even mean? And then the other part, this is the other part that took me out, is when she made the comment that, yeah, I want to address this. You giving him your blessing and permission.
Right.
The only person that can do that is me. And I'm like, I really was disturbed by that, because I'm like, well, what is you saying? Because so basically what you're saying is, if you get married to a man, he has no right or no control to tell you what you can and can't do with your vagina, but he married it. Don't make sense to me.
But
So,
Aki, that point in itself that you just brought out is proof that we're not even talking about an open marriage, a so-called open marriage, because in an open marriage, it would be a mutual understanding. It's like, hey, listen, I'm gonna whatever go over here, and he might be like, all right, whatever. You know, like there's an understanding that both parties, hence the term open marriage, where the both parties are in agreement to this. Yeah. So if he said, oh, the only one who can make that decision, whoa, hold your feminism up. Hold the feminism to the side for a second. That's not what the hell we're talking about. And I saw his face again, and I'm like, yo, how long is it going to take for him to jump over this table? And
hey, I thought he was going to do it.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
And mind you, that's what brings it back to the point to what I'm saying. Like a lot of comments I was seeing, it was like, okay, they in an open marriage, Y'all not looking at the key things that's being said. I really believe the breakup. I should have did a little more homework on this. But that part where they separated or where he was done, I really believe it had something to do with August, because I don't know. Well, of course I don't know at all, but I can't see him knowing that was going to happen when in his eyes and to the public and to where Jada Pinkette-Smith was letting everybody know that in his eyes and according to her that they were trying to help him. He was just like a little brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was someone that's what it seemed like. So he was talking about getting her back. Did you hear that at the end? Oh, I gotta get you back on that. Like this was, if it was open, the open relationship part, ain't no needing to get back. This topic was what he wanted to get back on.
That was adultery.
Yes.
He knows it. Because even with that statement, he was like, yeah, I could have got back at you or whatever like that. What did she say? Did you catch what she said right after he said that?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, oh, no, you did kind of get back at me. And he was like, well, I kind of. I'm like, oh, so what did he go and do? Because she's saying that he did get back at her.
Right.
And he so I'm just like, okay, this is not an open marriage situation. This is like, I'm like, oh, yo, that's what I was sitting there thinking. Like, I'm thinking like, yo, I hope, is everybody else catching this?
They not.
Right.
They not.
Now, nobody was catching it. And then you know what? Like, I think Shema, you bring out a good point, because a year ago, this story between them broke because the dude released a song talking about his relationship with her.
Yes,
and the rumor that was going around, or the narrative that the Smiths painted, was that when he did that on that song, and everybody was talking about, oh my gosh, August was with Jada, which is what people have been suspecting for years because of the pictures they took together. It was alleged that Will Smith basically, he ran up on him and punched him. That was the story a year ago. So now, this situation takes place, and he comes out and says that this guy gives him his blessing. Now, I do understand the point that you bring out, Shema, but this is something else that I saw in the clip that I thought was weird, real weird to me when they was talking about it. Now, she says, I want to address this. You giving him your blessing. You never gave him your blessing. And then right after that says, I can see how he would think that though. What does that mean? I don't understand what that means. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean I can see how he would think or believe that? What does that mean? So I was kind of, I thought she was kind of trying to use some skullduggery or something, or try to play some type of, you know what I'm saying, use some type of chicanery or something, you know, to try to bring that story out, because she was ashamed to like really fully lay it out on the table, like how she was a legend before she did the show. So I don't know. I was confused by that comment that she made about that, because she made it seem, well, she said flat out that he did not give him permission, but then said I could see how he believed that, but then never expounded upon why she made that comment after that about her saying I could see why he believed that you gave him permission. Like, what does that mean? So I think that's real weird and funny on her part, what she was trying to do. And I think she took a situation that she claimed was about healing him. And she said it still ain't no ill will towards him. I wish him the best type stuff. Both of them was, and then they was calling the dude by his nickname, both of them.
Right.
You know,
right. Aug or something like that.
Aug and all that. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I just thought that whole situation was weird, and that she took a situation about a person she claimed that she cared about and loved, that they was real sick, and which is true, by the way, because a few years ago, the brother was going blind. He had to have eye surgery. He was supposed to be going blind. He had lost some family members. He had a whole bunch of personal stuff going on in his life. He started having mental breakdowns, and he was
paralyzed at one point too.
Yeah, he was paralyzed.
All that.
So he was really going through a lot of stuff for real. But I'm just trying to figure out how, because for her to make a statement like, it's been so long since I felt good. Why? How could you, a person who was really, really sick, a person who's going blind, having to have eye surgery, you know, going through a certain type of, you know what I'm saying, paralysis, and going through all these different, you know, mental and psychological issues, how does that turn into, I hopped on it, you know what I'm saying, start having sex with him? Like, how does it turn into that, and you're trying to help him, you know what I'm saying, health-wise and mentally and psychologically? How does it turn into that? And I think that, you know, points to what Chief Zed was saying about you're a predator, because that's exactly what it was. At the end of the day, you know, we know, you know, not to even go deep into the whole conspiracy theory thing and Illuminati thing, but it's been rumored for years that a lot of these celebrities do a lot of stuff like this, you know what I'm saying, in terms of, you know, going to these sex parties and, you know, kind of just hippity hopping on everything, and, you know, wife swapping and so on and so forth.
Yes, sir.
A lot of these celebrities look real weird. And you know, Will and Jada is no different. Like, I mean, we can easily, just like we can talk about them, so we can talk about Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. So it is, you know, she preyed on this dude, man. You know, she thought, you know, dude was attractive, and her and Will, you know, and I always believe that a lot of these celebrities are either placed together or put together to build their cult of personality, to help their name look better in the media. Because a lot of people don't understand about trying to grow a fan base or garner fame, and be out there in the media, you have to have a personality behind the madness. And it's all about building your brand. So Will Smith was the type of guy who started off rapping, who was not a gangster rapper, but was rapping during the time when gangster rap was at his peak, at his highest. And was not considered a real rapper because he wasn't doing gangster rap. So he was always considered a, you know, like a blue collar family guy. So I can easily see them putting him together with her, because she had an image at the time that was more centered around a family type of image as well. And so you put them two together, just like with Beyonce and Jay-Z. You know, there's just certain people that would look good together on camera, have nothing in common, not attracted to each other, don't want nothing to do with each other. And basically they're just trying to have children and do things for the sole purpose of building their brand long term. So I think a part of why Will Smith was upset was the fact that he's looking really, really weak in the media when he's supposed to be this perfect husband, this family man, this loving father, this great guy who has paved the way for his children, his wife, and has, basically done what, the women, quote unquote, in this world deem as the ideal father, the ideal man to want to be with. That's his brand, that's his image. And so now with this whole story and with August coming out and saying what he's saying, is making him look like he's not the husband that he's been proclaiming for so many decades. And this whole brand and this image that he's been portraying is starting to look real funny. And with the feminist movement and all this stuff going on, and people taking up for Jada and, kind of trying to understand why she did what she did, is making him look even worse. So it seems like he's trying to figure out, because he can't, he's upset, but he can't get upset on camera because then that goes against the image. That goes against the image that he has painted. But at the same time, if he doesn't say anything or doesn't, press forward, then he looks bad. So it's like he in a lose-lose situation. And I think that's really what he's upset about, is the fact that this is kind of staining his image. And that's what I'm gonna use right there.
Now I want to say this because we got Yeshayahu in another piece to the Masada Watchmen. Shalom, Achi. Not sure if you're able to speak.
He sent the message in the chat. I responded to it. I don't.
Shalom. Can y'all hear me?
Okay.
Okay. How's everything going? Shaul was giving his breakdown, so I didn't look.
Wait, what did you say again? Forgive me. What'd you say?
No, I was saying Shaul was providing a breakdown, so I didn't want to interrupt. I know I'm sliding in a little on the later side, so
it's all good.
All right. So
so you came in basically we're talking about we kind of broke down the situation for those that, well, we know everybody done seen this, but about the entanglements, brought out some different perspectives. I brought out
entanglements. That's funny.
So I'm officially adding that term to the gay dictionary. Words that no man is supposed to say ever. Like, I got to quote the entanglement. Nah, dude,
I'm involved in the entanglement. That's definitely cringeworthy.
Yeah, man.
I would have laid down a platform that was very well touched on some of the same things that I was thinking on the topic as well. I guess I'll be brief and just come back in on the wraparound. But the main point that I see is, and I'm quite sure you brothers already touched on it, is the fact that, the use of this word is now allowing a whole bunch of lucid, lascivious actions to be portrayed. I was just actually having this conversation out in I guess you could say social forum, with a group of friends and some old friends or whatever, and I was like, the point that we mentioning is we're comparing these situations to things that would happen if you were just maybe talking or so-called dating someone and not being married. Like, we are forgetting the fact that these are married folks, and it saddens me a little bit because we don't take that extra initiative nowadays to kind of understand. And we coming from a platform where we did love language and we talked about marriage and its importance and all of that good stuff. So I'm not going to really lay that platform out here. But what I will say is that's like what I feel we're forgetting. We're forgetting that we're not just casually speaking and talking and conversing and dating and whatever. In that case, we're in these marriages with folks, and we're talking about, we separated and I got quote unquote entangled. Now you put somebody on the back burner who may have caught feelings for you, and I mean, it is what it is. But I'm gonna be real honest. You know, to me, I look at it as, you know, you kind of get what you sign up for. You know, this whole media world and popularity world, and you know, all of that. Everybody kind of, you know, moves to the same beat and drum, and they know what's going on. You know what I mean? So while they know what's going on, they I'm sorry, while they know what's going on, they sit there and you know, act like this stuff is surprising. Like, it's not surprising to me that you know, these type of things are happening. It's just kind of funny how it comes to the forefront. And you know, I sympathize with I don't know the brother's name, August.
Mm-hmm.
I sympathize with him only to the fact of, you know, the mental health ramifications that can play out of this. Because I mean, it looks like the brother is pleading for help, you know. But I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you knew what you was getting into. You know, you knew what you was
Yeah.
dealing with, and you knew you was dealing with a married woman. You know, biblical days, they both would have had their situations dealt with. You know
Mm.
what I mean? But since we ain't
Let me
there
ask you
now,
this question real quick, because you a psychology major. Let me ask
hmm
you this, because we was talking about right before you came about the fact that since all that stuff was going on with him, okay,
hmm
and they knew it, which they both admitted during the platform, the what is it, the red table.
hmm
He has said it. Is it a chance, like you know, normally people know what they're getting into, you know, and I'm not saying he didn't, right? But with those things happening, is it possible that she actually preyed on him and he fell into that?
And keep in mind
well,
too, at the time he was 22 years old.
Yeah, and also keep in mind now, since this had taken place, this is what he
mhm.
said during his interview. I don't know how true it is, so I want to put this in there too. That since this, he's been celibate for 3 years now, 3 or 4
Mhm.
years now. After this has taken place, this is what he said on this interview. He said he ain't did nothing sexually in 3 years now.
Mhm.
So I'm throwing it out there too. So knowing all of that, what's your take? Do you think it was more so he was looking at like, yeah, you know, I'm getting in with a cougar, or did he fall into some prey, being the prey? I
Nah,
mean,
I think it's a little bit of both. You
mm-hmm.
know, I think it's one of those things where, you know, risk and reward. You know, and we all been there. Well, I can't say we all been, but we know because
Hey,
that'd be a lie.
hey, what are you saying? What are you saying? Okay.
Yeah, silly.
I'm
Go
I'm
ahead, go
I'm
ahead.
I'm a yield on that one, but I will say is we we either been or we know people who've
Yeah,
been in situations where it's been at, you know, it's covenant. I mean, it's the 10th commandment of the you know, the what some people call the royal 10. You know what I mean? Thou shalt not covet another man's wife. I think he seen some room and said, "Hey, I can make her mine." And he be when he what is it? When the hunted becomes the prey. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Alien versus Predator movie. You know, we know that.
hey, you know what's crazy? I'm listening to you speaking, and I just cringed, not because you were speaking, but because of something you because of something you just said. I said, okay, goes back to what Chief Zed was saying. Like, this was not open. This part or this subject or these specific two people, Jada and all August.
Mm-hmm.
This part was not an open relation agreed upon relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I cringe, and that's why I think. And nobody taking up for Will, man. I mean, this is the lifestyle he chose. This what, you know. So we making that plain, but we still hitting some points that I think has not been talked about. And I will say this: can you imagine if both of y'all agreed to be in an open relationship? Okay, so that means y'all cool with it. But then the person goes outside of that agreement and get somebody that you just didn't know what was going to take place with. And now you like, and then that's cheat. Then at that point, it's like really getting cheated on.
Right. And it's funny because I know people in open relationships. Like I know people who live that lifestyle. Right. And every time I see it, like they think it brings them peace and they think it works. At the end of the day, somebody winds up, them feelings start creeping up, on somebody's side, jealousy, envy, being wrathful starts creeping up in their spirit and they don't know how to handle it. And because they set these parameters where it's cool, you know what I mean? And then I had one friend, can't mention the person's name, but I had one friend who was involved in an open relationship for a couple of years. And he like, as she could do whatever she want, as long as she come back and notifies me. Or as long as I know what's going on beforehand. And she values my opinion. But I'm like,
dude tweaking. Straight up. Hey, that I don't even understand nothing like that. Like, yeah, dude tweaking. And I mean, any dude that's on some stuff like that tweaking. They all tweaking. So I already over the head.
No bias over here. The Masada Watchmen is no bias, so don't think this is this segment is about bashing a woman or like that. It's just it's shining a light on something specific, man. And we're trying to point these certain things out because it's a lot of people in our community that's thinking this is okay. That is what we're trying to shine a light on for those that's listening. It's a lot of people that are thinking this is okay. And the thing is, they're looking at it. I saw somebody say, well, this could be entertainment for them. Here's the problem. Entertainment turns into reality for some people.
Exactly.
It starts to influence people. And they start to think that they can do this and get away. Now, it's just too many things and variables that can happen. So we're trying to bring this out on this platform, make this a conversation, and just bring out some points, some perspective, and a different way of viewing these things, but at the same time, giving the real. So,
yeah, I agree with that.
And mind you, something else that I noticed during that, well, I can't even say it was a dialogue, it was more like a monologue, and Will just looking at her like he wanted to kill her. That's really what, because it wasn't no discussion. I mean, let's not act like it was a discussion there. It was just her legitimizing what she did and him having to eat that. But what was interesting though about as I was watching it, I was asking myself, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute, well, why is there even a tolerance of this situation at this point? If he said, yo, I was done with you, it was just done, that's not separation talk. That's divorce talk. You know what I'm saying? Separation is when you, well, quote unquote separation is when you start being like, hey, we having some problems. I want to work these things out, but I don't know where we at right now. We need to take some time off and just kind of get our head together, see where what we want to be going forward. That's right. Separation. He was saying it in the definitive that, it was, you were done. I was done with you. So I started asking myself, well, wait a minute. But if that was his position, why didn't he just simply divorce her? Then I started wondering, I'm like, well, wait a minute. What if the form of marriage that he has with her, depending on the state that they got married in, what if he realized that, no, a divorce would hurt me more than allowing her to do this? So you know what? I'm going to let her have this open situation, let her do whatever, because, again, depending on the state that you're in,
oh yeah,
you file for divorce and he messed around and got to pay, 2/3 of his net worth to her. Goes back to that old song. It's cheaper to keep.
I was about to say that. I was like, so in other words, fellas, it's cheaper to keep.
Right.
And that might be That might be what he's involved in a situation like that, because otherwise, what man do you know is going to sit there after, you know what I'm saying? Here's a guy, here's a young dude who, you know, obviously, you know how Will seems to be. He seems to be the mentoring type, the type of dude to give you mad knowledge and stuff like that, you know, whatever.
Right.
All that positive energy. And he probably, it was like taking August under his wing in that sense. Like, hey, you know, let me school you, young brother, whatever the case. And here it is, your wife now has a full-fledged relationship. It's no entanglement.
And she ain't never felt good like that in a long time.
Right. It's like right. It's
That's
like
what she said.
It's like that scene out of Monsters Ball. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, make me feel good. Like, what? So, you know, so he's probably thinking like, yo, what the hell? But then he probably sat back and said, nah, you know what? If I file for a divorce or whatever, and we don't, again, I don't know what his legal standing in with his marriage or whatever, but no man in his right mind is going to see all of this go down. Watch your wife is over here banging some 22-year-old every other day or whatever the case, and then she comes back and says, okay, yeah, you know, I was trying to make, I wanted to feel better, you know, I hadn't feel good in a long time or whatever like that, and you're just gonna sit there and hold that, and she's still in your house.
Right.
Hey, but think about this too, though. I think the point that you brought up, Chief Zeb, is I think to me that's proof that. Now I do understand the financial side, like it's cheaper to keep her side, but I also think, and I also believe that that's a valid point or argument in what I was making earlier about the cult of personality that they have built.
Right.
And that if I was done with you, like you said, divorce talk, but somehow, some way we stayed together, what is that? I think he said that so that he wouldn't look so bad in the situation, because really he's the one that doesn't look. He's the one that looks the worst out of this whole, because look, let's just keep it 100. I know people like Jada Pinkette-Smith or whatever, but Will Smith has been the superstar of their relationship, the entire relationship.
Yeah,
he has garnered the most attention.
That's easy.
That's hands down. This dude, he's been put up there in the acting category with Denzel. Like, he's being compared to Denzel as an actor. So
no, come on now. Jada's up there too. She was in Set It Off, brother. She was in Set It Off.
I know certain people not gonna like that, but let's keep it 100. Like, Jada, it is what it is. The benefit, the person who's benefiting the most financially and fame wise is her, because he been had it and he has continued to grow from the Fresh Prince. She hasn't been in that A-list actress realm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's
been, you know, B tier, C tier, D tier type stuff her whole career.
Right.
And he's been, you know, $300 million movies, $400 or $500 million movies.
Hold on. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
You just brought out the numbers right there. 300, you know, what'd you say, $1 million movies, right? Yeah. Did y'all, as people say, well, she was in Set It Off. Do y'all know Set It Off only did like, I think 60 to 70 million?
Yeah, I don't even think it was that much.
It was between 30 to 60 million worldwide.
Right.
Worldwide.
And keep in mind too, at that time,
it's a classic though. But it's still
right. It's a classic. I mean, so was Friday, but nobody on Friday got paid. So
yeah.
I mean, it got like $30,000 a piece. It wasn't, even though the movie made a lot of money, but the way the contract was set, because nobody in there, other than John Witherspoon, nobody in that movie was a bona fide star yet.
Right.
Nah.
Ice Cube. That was his real come up, but he wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
I mean, who else?
Yeah.
I mean, he was on. I mean, after Friday, he was bona fide, But during the making of Friday, what I mean, Boys in the Hood. That's pretty much
Boys in the Hood. I think Players Club came out like a year or two later.
Right. So you see what I'm saying? So everybody was kind of like,
even do nothing up in there.
Right. Everybody was B-rate at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with Set It Off. I mean, Latifah, that was her first big movie. Kimberly Elise, that was her first movie, period. Vivica Fox, she was just on the come up, even though she had been grinding for years. That was her first big move. And it was the same thing with Jay. Nobody in that movie, other than Dr. Dre, was a big name.
Right.
So even though it was a big movie or whatever the case, but that was the movie that made Jada. Like, you know, no disrespect to what was the movie that she did?
Girls Trip.
No. Before that one with
I ain't even seen none of that.
Well, I was gonna bring up Girls Trip. The Girls Trip was her biggest movie to date.
Yeah, like 25 years after the fact, right?
Yeah, right. That was her biggest movie to date. But what movie are you talking about?
Was it? I'm trying to remember. Was it?
Nutty Professor.
Who?
Nutty Professor.
She was
whatever.
She was in Nutty. She was in Nutty Professor.
I know that.
And so was a lot of other people. But anyway, that's the bottom line. Is like she has no definitive move where it's like where it catapulted her into this realm where she was clearly a major breadwinner.
Right. Yeah, she got that. The status that she has and has had over 20 years has come from Will Smith. Period. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I believe that, you know, it was strategic on his part that he said something but not do too much, because with the feminism going on, they was going to attack him, and with him having the image that he has,
yes, sir.
I believe that the excuse for him, I was done with you, I believe he said that because to kind of give him a way out of looking so bad. And I also believe too, this is why he had to say that, because I believe that there is a strategic togetherness between them that's good for his image as a superstar actor. Right. And that's the reason why I wanted to bring it up, because when you said that, I'm like, yeah, you could say it's cheaper to keep her, but at the end of the day, for him being as big as he is, I believe if he wanted to, he could take her to the bank and she would never get a dime from him because he's that powerful. So I think, but at the same time, and that's just me. That's me taking a guess. That's me taking a guess. However, I believe that's the case. But I will go on. I will go as far as to say that I believe it's deeper than that, and I think it's because it's what he has built over the last couple of decades that has established him as a superstar actor up there with Denzel and a lot of these top actors, and that it was strategic for him to say that so that he wouldn't look bad, because again, they was when this first came out, they was dragging Will Smith through the mud. Even Hebrew was making posts about it. I mean, Sarah Shimmy Webb was like, "Come on, Will, what's going on, bro?" Like, hey, man, he was one of my, everybody.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I think I took a screenshot, because we're going to close out on this topic after this, man. Let you all close out because we got to go into the next one. But let me see if I could grab this screenshot. Did y'all see Will Smith? Not Will Smith. Now, I don't know if this is real or not, but 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Direct message, Will Smith. I ain't trying to laugh, but I'm laughing. Let me see if I think I screenshot.
He be trolling everybody, bro. This dude trolls everybody.
50 Cent is the king of petty.
Man, hold on. I could have sworn I sent it to you all. Like, hold on. Did you all have anything else to say about it before we, go to the next subject? But I gotta find this. Oh, but while I'm finding this, what do you all think about the ending of their conversation when they said bad something for life? I don't know. I forgot what they said.
Bad marriage for life.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting choice of words. Interesting choice of words right there.
No, it makes perfect sense when you consider everything that transpired. Basically, it's saying, hey, listen, this situation is twisted. But again, it makes more sense to just, it makes more sense to just tolerate massive dysfunction. That whole conversation, the whole scenario is straight dysfunction. And under different circumstances, it would have just been an insanely different outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. But me personally, I truly believe that there's something, I don't know whether it's legal, from a legal standpoint, or if going a little further and with certain puppeteers behind the scenes, that's like, no, y'all gonna stay together. We're not gonna break the situation up. Whatever it is, it's got him to the point. It has Will to the point where he has accepted the dysfunction.
Yeah.
He just accepted it. They gave a pound to each other, like, yeah, bad marriage for life. Like, what the hell kind of, like, what type of skullduggery is that?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad marriage for life.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No, thank you.
And a lot of these celebrities, bro, they're trapped because everything that we see is what is basically because they really can't go nowhere without a whole bunch of attention. So they have to live a fake life all day, every day, because they have built the image for their fan base.
Right.
And so a lot of celebrities, man, are trapped. You could tell they trapped. You could tell, this is why they be having these mental breakdowns and ending up, in the hospital. And like what Mark Lawrence was waving out there in Hollywood, waving a gun back and forth, talking about they trying to kill me. Like the stuff that these guys put themselves through for the level of fame that they have after so long, bro. You stuff get real old. And Will Smith said it when Bad Boys for Life came out this past January, and they was doing their press run all over the world. They did a breakfast. They stopped at the Breakfast Club.
I remember that one.
And I remember Will Smith stating himself that he's not who people think he is on camera.
Yeah.
He stated that. So and then Mark Lawrence was on record as agreeing with what he said.
Well, shoot, he showed it in public. Like Martin Lawrence was like quiet, bruh. Like he just during that interview you talking about.
Yeah,
he was just quiet, and they said that's how he is. Like he funny during it, what's the name? But he's just like
which was a complete throw off to me because
it threw me off, man.
I'm the type of person that if I meet Martin Lawrence, I never met him in real life, but if I meet Martin Lawrence in real life, I'm expecting 1994 Martin. I'm expecting, what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Yo, what's up, BD Bead?
Right.
I'm expecting whatever. So you're right, Aki. The smoke and mirrors that you have to live with in order to protect your brand. Because if they find out that you are nothing like what you portray, it ruins. It's sort of like if you found out that, I don't know, Coogee Rap or MOP really wasn't street dudes. You're like, what? I couldn't listen to them ever again after that. It's like, so no doubt. That's a good point.
And I would say that the biggest point about why I brought that part up is because in America, there's this heavy, peer pressure from, all ages, all peer groups, depending on what celebrities or favorite celebrities is in your age group or in your range as far as who you looked up to, there's this self-aggrandizing, self-worship or the worship of idols spirit and mentality that's pushed on us from birth, being trained in us and inundated in us from, childhood and television and school, even our own parents. And people hang their lives on these celebrities' lives, man. Like, if the celebrity is going through something, or it come to be that what they was, how they were living their life on camera wasn't, what their fan base started was. A lot of these people, they killed themselves. you know, people hang their lives up on what these people are doing. And so this is why, and these celebrities know that, and this is why it's not that they necessarily care about people killing themselves or not. It's just beneficial for them, you know, financially and image-wise, as far as maintaining their career, to keep up an image, even though it's bugging them out of their mind and tiring them out, and people that's looking up to them is bugged out of their doggone mind. But you know, it's just beneficial for everybody to keep on maintaining that facade, because if they let out who they truly are, then that can ruin somebody's life, and then that could also ruin theirs, because they don't know how to live any other way but the way that they've been living, which is fake. And Will Smith, I mean, like I said, when Will Smith admitted to that and saying that he had to take time and go to therapy and do all this stuff because he had, after the Fresh Prince and he started doing he did what was that, 6 Degrees of Separation with that movie he played in? What was that? No, Beggar Vance or something?
No, it was 6 Degrees of Separation.
Yeah, 6 Degrees of Separation, and he did Wild Wild West, and he was basically saying that after he did those movies, and he started to blow up as an actor, that he basically didn't know who he was anymore. He had been living the life of the Will Smith that everybody else see him as on TV, right, to the point to where he almost basically had a mental breakdown and had to go to therapy to recover, because he didn't know who he was. So when when Martin Lawrence agreed to that, that just lets you know what most of these celebrities is going through. Right. They're going through the same thing, bro. They living a lot every day, and not only are people, the civilians, their fans, suffering from it if they find out what truly is going on, but also the celebrities themselves are putting themselves through a great deal of trauma and stress that some of them never come back from, and never is the same again because of it. And right. So that, by all these points that you guys are bringing up, which is great points, I think that's one of the pinnacles of what is actually going on amongst celebrities and people like us, quote unquote, regular civilians, working class people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hang it up right there.
All right.
It goes right back. What you were saying, Aki, it goes right back to this book. I always quote it to people.
Who am I this time?
Who am I this time? Covering the Fictive Personality by Dr. J. Martin. This, I think everybody.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Most definitely.
Probably like $3 on Amazon now. I mean, it's I got this book in the late 90s, man. Like 97, 98 or whatever. Excellent reading. It definitely woke me up to a lot of things in my own life where I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get that too. Probably purchase it when I get off this. So before we go forward, yes, Yahoo, did you have anything you wanted to add? Then we're gonna go ahead and go to the next topic. All right. Probably a little busy. All right, so what we're gonna go ahead and do is, I know before I go to the next topic, I want to read this real quick with 50 Cent did to Will Smith, just in case. Just some little humor. It's not a funny situation, but 50 just stupid. He said, yo, Will, you all right over there? Will Smith said, yes, I'm cool. I appreciate your concern, my brother. 50 Cent says, but why she tell you that stuff? He didn't say stuff. On a show for everybody to see? ? Will Smith said, we broke up. So she did her and I did me. 50 Cent says, then she said only she can give permission for somebody to blow her back out. And then Will said, then Will said, F you, 50. And then 50 said, wait, what I do? Now, I don't know how real this is, but that's a screenshot.
If it's not real, if it's not real, that would be a miracle because that's so 50 Cent. This is what 50 does.
It got a blue check on it. I don't know. So, but anyway, I just thought I'd put that little funny thing on out there. So let's go ahead and go to.
But those are, even though it's coming from 50, if we gave those same questions to someone else, to someone more serious, more intellectually astute or whatever the case, I don't even think the questions would even be a problem. These are legitimate questions. It's like, yo, she said some things. Like, why would she decide, we're gonna red table this? Like, no, let's not red table this. We've been lying about it for all these years. Why are we gonna, why now? What are we doing here? And it's a big mess. But I will say, and I guess this is gonna lead into our next segment. What's interesting about all of this, because I've seen it on the timeline on not so much Facebook, because I don't really be on Facebook that much anymore, but on Twitter and Instagram, there's a lot of women who are siding with Jada, and I've seen personally women of the Hebraic persuasion that are like not saying that they agree.
Oh
but,
Oh yeah.
I'm glad you brought that out, man. Because I haven't.
And that's going to lead into this
myself,
next topic.
I haven't seen that myself because I don't have a lot of friends on my Facebook page at this point. I think I only got like 63 or something like that, and so I don't have enough on my page that have seen that. But yeah, let's go into that, man. Let's go into that.
All right, cool. So the next topic, it was a post that was put out there. So I'm gonna read the post. And this was shared to us by the brother Shaul, wanted us to speak on it. So we're gonna bring it out. And the post says, somewhere on Facebook, there's a sister struggling to make ends meet. How can we help this single mom? So I'm gonna just pass it on to y'all and kind of piggyback off of what y'all about to bring forth, because I'm interested in what this is gonna go.
You can go ahead and bring it out, Shaul. You brought the subject. You brought the subject to the table.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. I got up this morning, man, and I went and scrolled on Facebook for a second and seen the post, and that joint had over 150 comments, and so I was, when I see posts like that. Now, the last time I seen a post like that, a sister made it.
I remember.
But this time a brother made it, and this brother is like basically like almost elder status in of the Hebrew persuasion, as Chief Zeb would say. So when he said it, I'm like, I was curious, like, well, even though I've seen this before. Let me see what perspective he's coming from in the comments, because a lot of times people make posts, and because you can only write a certain amount of characters before the color scheme goes away, people don't always. It's not always.
Their full thought.
Sometimes it's vague. Sometimes what people write in the status is vague, and it's not always well written and put together, or eloquent, or easy to understand, or whatever. So I'm like, well, let me see what his perspective is in the comments, if any. And I go through there and I'm reading comments, I'm reading what sisters are saying, I'm reading what my elder is saying, I'm reading what my elder's wife is saying, and Prince Israel is saying.
Oh, so they was commenting on that? I gotta go check it out now. I didn't know that.
Casey. Yeah, KC and Marceline commented on it.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and I love Casey's comment. I think her comment was probably the most eloquent comment on there. It was the most thought out and explained comment, and it wasn't emotional. But a lot of the comments that was on there were a lot of females who are pushing this, and I haven't been on Facebook in a long time. So I didn't even realize how much people are pushing this take care of all single women thing. I don't, and where is this coming from? I didn't realize how heavy it has been in the community and how much it's been growing. And so to see a man from his perspective talk about what he thought about it, I thought it was quite interesting. So I've seen sisters on there. This one sister in particular, can't even remember her name, but if I did, I wouldn't mention it no way. Say something like, you Negroes is broke. Like, I don't understand why I gotta have sex with somebody. Like, nobody even has said this yet. Like, nobody even brought this up. But the first thing she said was that you niggas is broke. I don't understand why I gotta have sex with somebody or be in a polygynous relationship or be like in some type of romantic, emotional, relationship to be taken care of if I'm struggling.
Right.
And I don't understand why she would even go on a tangent like that. Now, I did see a brother say something like, I seen a couple brothers say, is she poly? I seen a couple brothers say that. Mm-hmm. Then I seen, and then I seen. So I knew that was about to go crazy. I knew that comment was gonna go crazy.
Right.
I seen some other brothers say, well, what does she bring us to the table that can help benefit me or my family if she's needing some type of help.
Right.
Now, when KC came in, KC said that is she willing to come up under a covering and be instructed and be up under some type of order. And soon
I did see that part.
Soon as she typed that, the sisters went into a tangent about, well, why I gotta be in a relationship. And she never said anything about being in a relationship or getting or being married. She just said, is she willing to come up under a covering?
Right.
But when women hear that, it's like a trigger word. I gotta have sex. It's like nobody said that. You know what I'm saying? And so I just found it quite interesting that a lot of sisters who has done their fair share of hoeing around, meaning that they got 2 or 3 baby daddies, they got 4 or 5 kids, and they only 25, 26 years old. Like, I don't think people really understand that's a lot of kids and you're not married. That's a lot of kids for a 25, 26-year-old female and you're not married.
Yeah.
And then you have more than one baby father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And but you feel like you have the right to go and demand that somebody take care of you financially because you're struggling, but because you thought she was grown, you could do it on your own, as our elder would say, and you went out there and did your thing, and now you want somebody to help you make up for the mistakes that you made that you're ashamed of at this point, because if you wasn't, then you would have took that mentality of, I could do it on my own still. But you don't have that mentality anymore. So what really is the issue? And so just seeing these comments and seeing what these sisters was doing, I don't really understand where this push is coming. I don't even know when it started and where this push came from. And so I just wanted to talk about that on the show to get everybody's perspective as to, what's going on. Why are we seeing more of this taking place with a lot of these sisters who are single, who has a lot of children, and they're under 30 years old, and the father or fathers are nowhere to be found, and they're in the Hebrew walk, and they feel like they could emotionally play on people's heartstrings with the Torah. What are you guys' thoughts on this subject and this topic of what is taking place in Israel with this with these sisters, these single mothers?
Yeah,
I'll pass it.
Oh no! Okay. I was gonna say that the funny thing about this is that we actually covered this to some degree.
Yes, we did.
In the other platform.
Yeah.
No. Let's call it Love Language Roundtable.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be petty.
No, we good.
Right. You know, we kind of covered it, but it kind of goes back to, 40, 50 years ago when the idea of single motherhood was legitimized by the women's lib movement. There was a time prior to that when you were a single mother, especially if you was a single mother, as opposed to a widow, because if you're a widow, you had children and your husband died or whatever, that's understandable, whatever. But single motherhood, aka whoredom, was legitimized by the so-called women's lib movement in order to create a platform where you can now do as you will, do as thou wilt, and not have to deal with the consequences of it. So you see all throughout the 70s, when the 70s came in and you start hearing these songs, by Lynn Collins, we got to use what we got to get what we want, whatever like that. It was the anthem of women's lib in the early 70s. That was the anthem, You Better Think, by Lynn Collins, James Brown's protege, which is interesting because James Brown actually wrote the song. But anyway, so that was some back end nonsense there. But but when you legitimize whoredom, when these women now have all of these children, they're actually rewarded. Why? Because if you have 5, 6, 7 children from different men, what can you do? You can go right downtown, wherever your downtown is. You can apply. You can get WIC. You can get Section 8. You can get food stamps. You can get public assistance. Every program under the sun that's going to come in and pamper you and say, okay, yes, we know we know you have 5 children, with 5 different men. It's okay. We will make sure you're okay in that situation. So they're rewarded. So when these women have all these children and they have all of these benefits, what happens is they build up a sense of entitlement where, like, because they don't see what they did was wrong, because normally when you do something wrong, there's a corresponding punishment. But if a person is not punished or receives some type of discipline for what they've done wrong, why would they ever have the mind to think that this is wrong? It only becomes wrong. It only becomes a problem when they're no longer able to monetize and capitalize off of their whoredom. When they're no longer, this is the reason why you hear women who, when they're financed, when they get all of these, and I have some of these females even in my family, where they'll sit there and, they'll talk all day about, I don't need no man get this and that, I'm independent, yada, yada. And then as soon as Trump stops the money coming in from the your benefits, now all of a sudden you're looking for your baby daddies. Now they're deadbeats. Where they at? Whoa, no. You said you don't need a man. Keep the same energy.
Right.
Keep that same energy, because because again, this is only talking about the women who have lived as whores. We're not talking about the sisters who had very bad circumstances, because we know that exists.
Right.
Good sisters, they got caught in a bad situation. I was about to say something with a foul dude. I was gonna say some other stuff. We know these situations happen, so we're not gonna, we're not talking about those sisters. But we're talking about these sisters who take pride in their whoredom, and now they're trying to Hebraicize their whoredom. And they're trying to catch these men who already probably have mommy issues, and they feel like, oh man, we got to look out for these women because, my mother wasn't looked out for. They catch these brothers, and they start making them feel as if, wait a minute, if you don't come in and take care of my 5, 6, 7 children from 4 different dudes, then you ain't a real Hebrew.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. That's one of the main things I don't like about it. Is the guilt tripping, trying to guilt trip brothers into taking care of them financially, and they're not getting anything in return. We talking about, because we did talk about this before on the other show. We're talking about
And they don't even have to guilt trip them. That's the thing. A lot of brothers would do it anyway.
Yeah. And I want to jump in real quick. I want to say something that I want to say something that in that post I did recall Lady K said when she brought that out. She was saying the whole covering thing because what she was doing was setting the women up too, by the way, to see their response. Why? Because a lot of our women and men, but the topic is this post right here, they will not take order or leadership or someone that directs them.
Yes, sir.
So she also said, what Shaul didn't bring out, I don't think, was if you're not going to accept this covering to do the things that you want, to kind of like, go ahead and do the culture how it is. Hold on, wait. I got you. Watch this. To go into, the way that the culture is set up, then go ahead and go to the government that assist, like what Chief was bringing out. That's what she was saying. She was saying in that post, I remember that part. She was like, if you're not going to be taking no covering, if you can't handle being covered properly by, a kingsman or by someone that's really going to set you right and help you and really help you benefit you from what the direction you need to go in, then you got the government that could do the stuff that Chief Zed was just bringing out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I did not mention that part, but I'm glad that she did that, and I believe because the next part I was gonna say that I don't like about posts like this, and I'm sending my apologies now to Prince Israel if he hear this, but I don't like the vagueness of not knowing, the vagueness of not knowing what you're trying to convey. What side are you actually on? Because what we're trying to do as a people, we're trying to start communities, and we're trying to reestablish what we once had as a people. And at the end of the day, we had a culture, and regardless of a working class citizen's opinion, it never overruled culture. And I think what the things that I hate about these type of posts is that the way that people write these posts, it kind of sets it up to where people can have their opinion, and then that opinion can overrule what the culture actually was. And I don't like that. And I also don't like the fact that he's not, him being one of the guys in Israel who's on the top. Now I could be wrong, because he could have went back and made a comment later. But from what I seen, I didn't see any comment of his that was, disregarding this notion that somebody should just go gung-ho and send out all their money to some broad that they don't know and they're not getting nothing from. And not even just that. The fact that a lot of these females on his post was going rampant and talking crazy about, all you niggas is the same. This is what these females are saying. I didn't every brother that was on that post, I didn't see them saying nothing about, I didn't see every last brother saying something about poly. There was a few brothers that mentioned poly, and it was other brothers that mentioned other things. But some of the cantankerous comments that some of these sisters were writing, he was giving it the love symbol. Now, whether he was giving it the love symbol to agree with it or not, don't really matter. The fact that you're reinforcing, I don't really care if you're agreeing with it or not. Giving it a like or a love is reinforcing it. And it's reinforcing it in a negative way. It looks positive, but it's reinforcing it in a negative way, because it's not getting these people out of this mindset, because it's a mindset that our people are stuck in. And those who are in a position of leadership, such as himself, have to put the hammer down just like they do with everything else. Because I've seen other posts, people talk, including him, talking about how important keeping the Shabbat was. So why do we put a certain level of importance on something like a Shabbat or quote unquote getting all of the leavening out of your house during the Feast of Unleavened Bread, but not putting any pressure or any weight on situations like this in terms of establishing a governmental order for people to fall up under? And that's what I like what Lady K said on her comment. It's like we can go back and forth all day about poly this and this and this and that. What matters is this: are you willing to come up under a covering? If not, then you can go back to government assistance. Because at the end of the day, it really don't matter what a brother will or won't do. What matters is can we put a stop to all this madness that's going on with our people in terms of this whoremongery and this whoredom that's going on in Israel, and can we put a stop and put a cap on how many casualties we take every day, every week, every month, every year in Israel in terms of these relationships and marriages falling apart? Can we put a cap on these things and kind of slow those things down from happening by establishing a certain level of order, as opposed to you trying to guilt trip or trying to play a run game or use some type of machinations to get people by using Torah to say that basically if somebody don't dish out income to you to help take care of you because of decisions that you made as a woman, but you don't want to come up under any authority or covering, then what are we actually doing if we're not trying to establish a order, as opposed to just having a conversation that's going nowhere? Because the conversation may look good on the outside looking in, but it's really a conversation that's irrelevant unless we're talking about what Lady K is talking about, and that's establishing order.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't like posts like that. I don't like when people talk like that. And, you know, another brother, good brother, you know what I'm saying? Hey, shout out to John Boy. We love you, brother, but I got to be honest. You know, John Boy make a lot of posts like that, too. And I think it's very, very, very detrimental when you make posts like that. Because if it's not trying to establish an order, then what are we really talking about? Because all we're doing is exchanging opinions. And at the end of the day, an opinion would not get us back to a culture. So
I want to jump in real quick, and I'm gonna pass it right on to I saw your hand, Chief. My bad. Two things. One, this man done said like 4 or 5 words I never heard of in my life. I had to go on Google and look up cantankerous. I never heard cantankerous in my life, but I looked it up, and the definition for those that's listening that might not know either, it is bad-tempered, argumentative, and that's what he was talking about with the women that's coming on the post, and uncooperative. I just learned a new word, cantankerous.
First time I ever heard that word was from Ben Ami Ben Israel.
Oh wow!
He used it in the same sentence with incorrigible. This was like 95. I was like cantankerous, and then like down the like he was like, people are practically incorrigible. I'm like, what? Pull out the Merriam-Webster, like what the? I was like, oh wow, like yeah.
I gotta get on my Malcolm X, man. I gotta get a dictionary and just read it every day, because that's what Shaul here make you look some stuff up. So the last thing I want to say, how I love how it's coming back together. All this is coming together, and I hope people watch this all the way through. He brought some facts out, man, and these type of posts, and I'm not, you know, with all due respect, with the poster, if we're trying to go in this direction, we can't. When we leave room and wiggle room for different things, it creates chaos. You know, the thing that he brought up with the brother John Boy, you know, cool cat. But it's like it's not about knowing where you're at, but it's about, okay, if we're trying to make this change, we got to be consistent. And I think that's the biggest thing that I think Shaul is bringing out right now. We got to be consistent. So with that, I yield. I want to pass the floor pass it up back to the chief or Yeshayahu, and that's it for me.
Okay, and you know, just to be fair, because I've seen posts, many posts in the past from Prince Israel. I know I know of his reputation, you know, in the nation.
Oh yeah, very yeah.
Absolutely. So with that said, I know he does, and it's very interesting that Prince Shaul had brought out John Boy, because they do the very same thing. There's a few people who are online, they do these things, and I agree. Sometimes when you put up a post and it's kind of ambiguous, it leaves wiggle room for all manner of madness.
Yeah.
So I agree. But I also look at the other side of this, the other side of that that argument, and that is that a lot of times when people put up posts, and in their post they take a certain position, people will say, "Oh, they're biased. Oh, he's a man. Of course he'll say that."
Yeah.
Or
strategy.
Or if he puts up a post and it's coming from the perspective of a woman, brothers be like, "Yo, man, he over here simping." You know, he's sipping over here, whatever. Like so even there's been times where I've done it where I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me put this out there, and without giving my platform, let me just see what their platform is. Now, of course, later on, I'll come in and say, oh yeah, by the way, boom, 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 and I'll clarify my position. But I noticed that, especially when you're a man or a woman of renown, if you have reputation in the communities or whatever, people tend to be biased toward or against, or for you or against you when you have reputation. So, for instance, if I already have a high amount of respect for Shema Tabiyahu, for Moreh Shema Tabiyahu, if I already have that, he'll put something up, and I'll 99% of the chance I might automatically agree with him. Now, me personally, I don't do that because but a lot of people out there on social media, you know what I'm saying? I think what was the sister? I forgot the sister's name. She called it Moreh hopping, where you get people, they be like, "Yo, well, that's my Moreh, so there's nothing he can say that's incorrect. I agree with everything he says." And it's like, well, no, he could be wrong. I could be wrong, whatever. So people are biased in that sense where if they feel like, oh, you're putting something up and you are so and so and so, you know, they're like, oh, now he's chief so and so. You know they're gonna automatically agree with him anyway. So people don't like to be put into those categories. So what some people do, they'll put up a post and just let it ride and say nothing about it. Just let everybody do what they're gonna do, and they just sit back and they watch the show. Then, not all of them, but some of them will come back afterwards and say, oh yeah, very interesting post. What I think y'all need to understand is A, B, C, D, and E. Or what I think y'all might have missed is A, B, C, and D, and E. To clarify. So, but I do agree with Shaul that if you're gonna do that, you have to come back and clean up whatever muck and mire has been established there. If not, you seem to be part and parcel of the madness.
Right.
I agree, but and the only reason why I inserted this comment is because if it was anybody else, I'd probably be like, you never know, man. That you might get on the shaky side, but because Prince Shaul, because of his reputation, go figure. We're talking about reputation again. The reputation, I tend to, you have. It's like me. If I put up,
you gotta give him benefit of doubt.
Right. If I right now, if I put up a post on social media and I say, I don't know, whatever, any whatever, you, Shaul, and who else, and Yeshayahu or whatever, are probably going to give me the benefit of the doubt. You're not going to be like, Chief is the goddamn devil. What is he talking about? You're going to be like, well, okay, let's see what Chief is talking. Let me see where, because you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I know he's not an idiot. So let me just see where he's going with this. But those cases, it's a case by case. There's some people where I'm like, nah, that's just some madness right there. That's just madness.
But see, I do want to make this clear too, because I don't want anybody that's listening or hearing to interpret that I'm, basically coming down on John Boy, coming down on Prince Israel. That's not the point. Because when I was on Facebook in the past and I seen brothers make posts like this, I normally catch the point that they're trying to make.
Right.
However, what I'm speaking against is the fact that I don't think it really matters in general. Is what I'm saying. I don't think posts like that are beneficial really at all. And the reason why is because I'm going out on a limb here to say that the majority of, it's really hard to dispute because, those who agree with the scriptures can easily see that in this lifetime, you're only going to have a very, very small remnant of leaders, like true leaders, those who really got that shepherd spirit, and everybody else is going to have the mentality of a sheep.
Right.
And just like I can understand to, where they trying to go with the post, that ain't everybody.
Right.
And just as easily as I can see that post, understand it, is the same ease I look at the post and keep on scrolling. I don't even comment on it because I think people who get caught up, like, except for those who give an intelligent, unemotional answer, those who jump on a post have a sheep's mentality where they just go off on a tangent, and it's not because it doesn't help them. And that's just my thoughts on it. I have not seen that those types of posts help people, because the problem with people is I think sometimes we get caught up in the Messiah, and I call it the Messiah complex, where we feel like we just need to save everybody type of thing. And I think an element of that wanting to save everybody aspect is prevalent when it comes to being on Facebook for a lot of people who are in leadership, because I think, they kind of feel for the people like, man, I don't know this brother, but I know his people. And man, I just wish, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not necessarily, I could be completely wrong about that with brothers. But at the same time, I think an element of that is there. And I also, and I also believe that these posts that we're talking about are not helping those people who have that sheep's mentality. Because if it did, then it wouldn't get worse every year. Because since I've been in the walk, every year Facebook, in terms of a community, Israelite community, has gotten worse over a 10-year period. From what I have seen, as far as people that I actually have met and known personally and kicked it with and spent the night with and went to Airbnbs and different events with, I have seen and have met that have went through all these different mood swings in a 10-year period, or in the period of time that I have known them since they've been in the walk. Because I've been in 10 years going on 11. So I don't see these types of things helping people, because when you equating someone to a sheep, essentially what you're saying is that they're too stupid to figure out how to guide and lead themselves. That's why they need a shepherd. And let's just keep it 100, because we talking about shepherd and sheep. If sheep could lead themselves, there wouldn't be no need for a shepherd. So I think it's really important that people who have a voice that people want to hear say things that's actually productive in the sense that is leading them to what they should be doing, as opposed to leaving it up in the air for them to decide, because they're too stupid to understand. And I'm just keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying? And people some people might not like that, but I'm just saying, everybody don't have the capabilities to think critically and lead or walk down a straight path as a shepherd would. And that's just the reality of the situation. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not coming down on John Boy or Prince Israel. I do understand why brothers feel like they have to throw that out there. I'm just saying I don't entirely agree with it. Is all I'm saying. Right. But shout out to Prince Israel, shout out to the elder, shout out to John Boy, man. Shout out to all the brothers. Shout out to all the other brothers that make posts, man, that they feel like in their hearts is trying to help the people. I understand and I'm with you on that. I just don't entirely agree. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Good stuff. I ain't gonna. So going since he brought that up. So this is what we gonna do real quick. Yes, Yahoo, you there? You had any words before we could continue? I was gonna bring out the word of the day and fishbowl follies, and I ain't gonna hold you.
Oh no, for this evening, and maybe even go for. I don't even know how I'm gonna do fishbowl follies because let's keep it real. We've been kind of going in. I'd rather probably end it on a more positive note because, I think I told Yeshayahu this too. I don't want people to perceive that we are the mad rappers.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like, I'm gonna tell you why I'm mad, son.
His history with the chief then or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So the word of the day for me, Hebrew word of the day, is structure. We've been talking about a lot of things dealing with being one, community, and I wanted to bring out structure. We saw today with the whole Will Smith and Jada Pinkett thing. To me, their structure is out of whack, and it's not healthy for our community. And then now we're talking about the second topic was dealing with the post and what a lot of the women was speaking on, and how we mentioned how Lady K, brought some good, put some good things into the atmosphere, into the comment section, some structure, things covering. That's a structure. That's something in place to help you build.
Right.
So the word of the day is structure, and it is mibene. That's the Hebrew word, structure, mibene. So with that being said, did you have any I ain't gonna hold you show, or was that really just part of your I ain't gonna hold you already because he was going there?
Hey, you know what? That could be qualified as I ain't gonna hold you for real.
Mm-hmm.
But no, what I was gonna actually say about I ain't gonna hold you, bro, is that at this point, man, our people are people who you can equate to a teenage child that's going through puberty. And our parents is the oppressors, and we're trying to rebel against the system, but we have siblings, which is our. I thought you put it out for me. Shout out to my wife, y'all. Anyway. But yeah, I ain't gonna hold you. Like we're like we're like teenage children who have siblings, and our parents are the oppressors, and we're trying to rebel against them, but we're also rebelling and going against ourselves. And because we're going through all these chemical, emotional, and mental changes, and physical changes as a people, because we're starting to see and experience life for the first time after so long. And I'll just say that, this is a more serious, I ain't gonna hold you, that, we need to get it together as a people, in terms of our emotional state and our state of well-being and mental health and stuff, as Yeshayahu would bring out. And that we have to get past this teen phase where everything that we see and we hear, and we hear somebody speak or see somebody say, we just emotionally react to it and jump on it right away in the negative way, in terms of going on a tangent on the person. Oh man, y'all just want poly, or oh man, you just this. On all these topics we talk about, these are topics that are very sensitive to a lot of people, and I want people to when they go through their prayer, when you go through those that are listening right now, when you go through your prayers and your meditations, and you go through your, you isolate yourself, you have your moment to yourself to do your thing. I want you to meditate and pray for balance and patience, because at the end of the day, everybody has to learn and understand where it is they need to be in their position and their structure and seat in life. You know what I'm saying? And if it's not what they wanted themselves to be, you just need to accept the fact that your destiny is always, it may not always be what you want it to be. And it may be something that you didn't see yourself doing, but it's beneficial for us to get back to who we once were as a people. And I'm going to conclude that for today's I'm Not Gonna Hold You. And I'm gonna give it back to Shaman, man, Moray Shaman, let him take it home there.
Appreciate that. I think Yeshayahu's kind of occupied at the moment. So, with that being said, Chief, did you have any closing words yourself? Words of wisdom, anything like that?
Not in particular, because I think going forward, I'm gonna. I think we're gonna. Well, let me not say we, because everybody has their portion, but I'm gonna go forward towards in the direction of history.
Okay.
Especially in scenarios like this, like when we have shows where we kind of hammering down on certain things, that in itself turns into a fishbowl folly. That's a whole episode of it.
Right.
We talked a lot of folly today. But I will say that just like all of the prophets that our ancestors had the opportunity to meet, to listen to, they all had a very similar message. Not just a message as far as critique, but also they always, if you ever noticed, that they always had the belief that change was going to come. That we, of course, could get to a point where we would actually become that which the Most High had created us to be our ultimate selves, and not this shadow of what we're supposed to be. Right now, we're almost like we're living in a shadowland at this point. Just we're a shell of what we used to be. We're a shell of what we could be. But I'm thankful that the prophets and that the wise men who came before us left enough on record to show us that if we do put our minds to it, all of the folly that we're experiencing and that we're critiquing, it'll all go away, because the folly, at one point in time, there was no folly. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the book of Judges, every 40-something years, the people lived in peace. There was peace, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding flourished. And then, of course, somebody came along and said, nah, let's go back to some folly. And then we got jacked up. But what we learned from the book of Judges, what we learned from the book of Ezra and Nehemiah, those books in particular, we learned that Israel goes hard, on whatever they set their minds to. When we go hard when it comes to evil, we go all the way with it. like there's no middle ground with us. Either we go all the way in our folly, or we go all the way with our righteousness. And I think that because of who we are as a people, because of what is in our genes, what is in our DNA, as a people of Yah, we can always get back to that point where we become Yah's reflection, so to speak, on this plane, and not being the reflection of lunacy.
Right.
We can do it. It can be done. It's been done in the past. It could always be done, but of course we have to put forth that effort. And the immortal words of the Spider-Man comic books: with great power comes great responsibility. Hallelujah.
Good stuff. All right, everyone. That kind of concludes our show, this episode today. We hope that it was a good segment for you all. We hope that you come back next Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you have any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, you could email us at TheMasadaWatchmen@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook at our page, facebook.com/TheMasadaWatchmen. Follow us on Twitter at Masada Watchmen, and also blackjunction.com at the Masada Watchmen. We look forward to hearing from you all, seeing you all, and growing on this journey together and bringing out information that's going to help change and build the community. And with that, we are
the
Masada Watchmen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.